It is time once more for us to deal with the Reach. Welcome back to A Clash of Kings Reformers. This is the last episode where we will be facing the Reach. I am almost certain, I hope so at the very least, because I would like to definitely fight someone a little bit different. And we are getting to the time, by the way, we are getting to the time where it might very well be the case that the Targaryens will invade, and then the Dornish will also see fit to attack, and it's going to be a bit difficult. I feel like it's going to be a bit difficult. Anyway, what I've done is I went to Old Town, I deposited all of the vassals that I have taken prisoner in the garrison there, and basically just made it so that my army is also constituting a whole bunch of Dragonstone Vanguards and Household Guards, because as we've seen, halberdiers, while they are very effective indeed, they may not be the greatest for sieges, and that's exactly what we're going to be doing in this episode. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go extremely hard against these enemies. You can see here that Sunhouse has literally no one in the garrison right there, and there's 3 towers. That was actually just taken. I'm going to try and hunt down Martin right here. We're going to take him out almost instantly. See? I told you it was basically instantly. Yeah, there we go. So he manages to escape, so that's kind of unfortunate really, but what can you really do about it, apart from the fact that we are just going to be moving onward. So, do we want to take 3 towers, or do we want to take uplands? I think we will take 3 towers first, as there is another vassal here that we have to deal with. And there we go, he is now taken down, and basically I just auto-resolved that. I literally just auto-resolved that. We lost a grand total of like 6 units or something like that, so it's really nothing to worry about. It seems like we have another naval battle on our hands, so basically what I've been doing is just taking keep after keep after keep. I did have to restore my forces after a couple of those, because we are obviously going to end up losing a couple of units here or there, and ooh, that was close. I actually almost fell off and basically almost killed myself. But I gotta say, I'm actually very much enjoying the whole chase kind of thing, because we're basically trying to hunt down as many Reach vassals as we can get our hands on, and while that can be a bit tedious, I'm actually very much enjoying the fact that, oh dear, yes, I'm not enjoying the fact that most of our forces got eliminated right there for no apparent reason. Yes, that is a bit of an issue, but anyway, point is, I very much appreciate the fact that the Reach is being so incredibly brave and very, very courageous as well, because, I mean, you got to give them props, you know? You got to give them props for holding out for such a long period of time. Now, this particular vassal is not the only one that is available to fight on the ocean waves. You'll see who I mean in just a second. Good to see you again, Elias. I'm sure he doesn't really feel like that. Actually, maybe he does. He's got a pretty decent relation with us, as you can see. Anyway, we have 172 against 127. And, well, hopefully my forces will not get themselves killed like they did last time. I think that was basically them just falling off and dying in the ocean. I think that might be the case. I'm actually unsure about that. But yeah, hopefully they're not going to die this time around either, because it is kind of significant, the amount of casualties that you can actually suffer from encounters like that is kind of harsh. Anyway, let's go first person. I know that a lot of people don't really like first person for the most part, because in general, yeah, you know, that might be the case with a weapon like this, because it's kind of difficult to actually see what you are even doing with it. But if you switch to a cleaver, it might be a little easier. Oh wow. Yeah, it's actually kind of close, isn't it? The field of view is actually very, very tight, so it's a bit weird. Anyway, I think we are basically done here, because obviously if the first wave is unable to deal significant damage to us, then we're probably going to be absolutely fine to eliminate the rest. Alright, so this is the final round. I'm actually just going to order my troops to attack without us right here so that we can just get them dead. And we now have the opportunity to take a Lord Mace Tyrell prisoner, which I am going to do because, well, let's face it, the ransom money is going to be pretty extravagant. As you can see, I also took this guy prisoner very, very recently as well. Okay, so this is one of those times where I basically was thinking to myself, okay, you know what? I'm just going to run away and I'm just going to leave Ashford for the Westerlands to take, because let's just say that they have a lot of units. And here's the thing, I then said to myself, okay, you know what? We're not going to do that. We're going to defend this, and we're going to see how we do. Now, we have 420, blaze it, so obviously we're going to be able to blaze the opponent completely. Yeah, I'm sorry. There was just no way that I could get away from that particular reference. Anyway, point is, let's hope that we do okay here, because I have been, well, muddling around, basically. I have been running from keep to castle to castle to town, trying to defend our holdings and our lands from the various enemies that want to try and take it. We are currently being attacked by the Westerlands and the Reach at the same time. But it appears as though the Reach has been completely eliminated now, and I haven't received the message yet. I haven't received the message where it says, oh, the Reach has been eliminated from the game. You know, I haven't received that yet, but I believe that most of the Reach vassals have nowhere else to go. I have taken all of the Reach fiefs, because let's just say that they have, well, usually in their garrison, they're not going to have that much. They're going to have 50, maybe less, maybe more, you know, but around there in each of their garrisons. And it's very, very easy, as you could imagine, with household guards and vanguards to just go in there, take it, no problem at all, and then move on. Obviously, the waiting time is the most annoying thing, because obviously I know that I'm capable of going in there and finishing it in less time than it takes to actually build the siege equipment, which is very frustrating indeed, especially in the case of a siege tower. But obviously it's the same thing with siege ladders as well, because the siege ladders are so incredibly slow, and I have no idea why that is. I know I've mentioned this in a previous episode, but I really don't know what's going on with the engineering skill, but that's just how it is. You know, that's just how the mod is, so we're just going to have to deal with it. Anyway, point is, apart from defending all of these different areas, I've basically chosen, rather than doing siege defenses, I've chosen to tackle most people on the fields of battle, because if I do that, I have a much greater chance of just finishing it up rather than them going into the siege defense, you know. So basically I've just sped it up a little bit by doing that. And then I decided, okay, we're gonna have to take back Tumbleton. So Tumbleton was in control of, well, basically the Westerlands. They took that from us a while ago while I was focusing on the Reach. And I have no idea, I have no idea when they even took that, but they apparently took it some time ago, and they basically then garrisoned it with about 180 units. Actually wasn't even that bad. I'm taking a lot of damage here. I am, as you might remember, on normal damage modifiers. Usually I'll play on half because I don't like to get myself killed that easily, but yeah, as it stands right now, I'm going to have to be very, very careful, and we are going to have to be cautious and try and not get ourselves killed here, because if we get ourselves killed here, it's probably going to be a game over. We're probably not going to be able to prevent ourselves from losing Ashford, and obviously Ashford is one of my fiefs, I believe. Isn't it one of my fiefs? Or did he refuse to give me Ashford? Oh, now I'm getting mixed up, because I think he gave me Old Town. He definitely gave me Old Town, and I think I asked for Ashford, and maybe he didn't give it to me. Maybe that's... oh no, maybe I'm defending this for no reason whatsoever. That might not be good, would it? That would not be good at all. But there are 240 units in here, so I suppose it's a pretty significant number. I'm actually unsure about that. Oh no, I should have checked. I really should have checked that, because I wouldn't have minded the Westlands taking this by any means if it's not mine, because then I could have just taken it back relatively easily, as I say, because they usually don't garrison it with a huge amount of units. So that's a bit problematic. That is a bit problematic. I'm not entirely sure, but whatever the case, this is a pretty epic siege defense, so whatever may happen, we will just try our best. I do have a pretty substantial amount of household guards and vanguards in our garrisons thanks to the automated recruiting, so that's actually really awesome too. And I think someone in the comments actually did give me a pretty cool reminder that you can actually go into your patrolling training guy. Can't remember the guy's name. Is it a Castellan? I think it might be the Castellan or the... it's not the Seneschal. I know it's not the Seneschal, so it's probably the Castellan. And you can speak to him about getting a patrol, and then you can get a patrol, and they usually have some very, very good units that you can tell to go into the garrison, and then you can actually use those. So obviously that's a pretty cool way of garrisoning a new conquering, basically. That's a pretty cool way to do that. And also, I think someone actually mentioned, they had a question about why I don't, or why I tend not to do that often, whereas where I take some peasants from a battle or whatever, and then just place those in a nearby garrison to add numbers. And generally, I'm happy to do that, but most of the time I either forget, because it's just, you know, it's one of those things that is kind of like a micromanaging kind of thing. I either forget to do that, or it's just that I have other things on my mind where I'm deciding, hey, you know what, let's go on a siege spree, you know, so go on a siege spree against these guys, or go on some kind of, you know, some kind of attack elsewhere. And that's the kind of thing that usually will happen, that where I might forget to take those peasants and put them into a much more useful role than being in my army, because being in my army is basically useless for them. There's no point them being there. And we're actually against Riverlands units as well here. So we're getting a pretty decent variety of enemies to fight. And I'm kind of surprised I haven't taken any additional damage so far. You know what? I saw that coming. I saw that coming and I was like, yeah. This guy's having a pretty fun time. As you can see, he must be a Westerlands sympathizer, I suppose. He must be like, yeah, give me the... No, let's not go there, shall we? Okay, so I'm actually just going to retreat from that. So let's actually just take a look and see what actually happened. So my casualties were literally nil, because the only people that got taken out were my companions. And the allies' casualties were quite significant, and that's probably the reason why we had so many difficulties in taking these guys down and, you know, preventing them from entering the battlements. So, yeah, as you can see, they still have 1,180. We have 365. This is going to be pretty harsh. I hope my first aid is going to help me to get at least... Yeah, there we go. That's a pretty decent amount of HP. We'll see what we can do with it. Well, that is quite a weird situation right there. It seems like the enemy has been forced to retreat. I'm not entirely sure why they decided to do that, because they actually did eliminate quite a few of our units in the process there. But it seems like they are perfectly willing to, well, just take a bit of a breather, and I suppose we'll see what they decide to do in a second. And this is the utter amazing thing happening right now. We have Dragonstone coming here, trying to eliminate all of these Westerlands vassals. We're actually going to go in against one of the Freys here so we can actually eliminate them. You can see here they only have 58 remaining. You know what I'm actually going to do? I'm just going to retreat here real quick, and we're just going to send our units in automatically. We may lose a couple, that's absolutely fine, but we've eliminated them, and now we may get to take them prisoner, which we are going to do. And, well, as you can see, I have a wide variety of different people in my prisoner's hold here. I'm very, very pleased about that. So I'm going to just leave all of the loot for my men, and we are going to continue hunting down these Westerlands vassals. I actually held out long enough, and they took long enough to reconstruct their siege equipment, that Dragonstone has actually appeared now, and they are helping us. So I am very, very pleased about that. Basically, that is exactly what I wanted. I really, really wanted them to come along and try and help us out. As you can see, it's actually still under siege, but thankfully we have a pretty significant presence of Dragonstone units in the area here, and we are going to deal with Lord Leo Lefford, Triple L. And that is indeed a crash. Did you see that? Do you see that on the screen? Well, maybe, if you don't see that on the screen, then, well, that's just how it is. Anyway, that's actually going to be it for this episode. I was just going to eliminate Lord Leo right there, and then that was going to be the end of the episode. And the Reach, actually, they have not been eliminated yet, so I'm actually wondering what's going on with that. I'll show you the map and its current situation in the beginning of the next episode. I thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time.